restaurant style ribs on an offset smoker.
Restaurant style ribs.
That's right, guys. Restaurant style ribs. I think they're underrated. I think they're becoming massively popular when you're getting the right ones from the right kind of place. We're not talking about Chili's baby back ribs. I want the baby back, baby back, baby back. Chili's. No, sir. We're not talking about boiled ribs. We're not talking about oven-baked ribs. We're talking about real ribs from a barbecue restaurant. We're talking no-wrap ribs. If there's sauce, it's only happening when they're resting it for about an hour before they serve it. Dry rub, hard smoke, good crust, dark bark. That's right, guys. I'm starting off with a regular set of ribs from Walmart. Nothing special. They were on sale, and I just grabbed them up. Spare ribs. I'm going to go ahead and trim them up just a little bit. Now, notice I'm not taking the membrane off the back, but I am going to go ahead and score it because we're talking about restaurant style, and restaurants don't have time to be going through and meticulously taking off the membranes and things like that. But also, we're not wrapping this. We're not going to have to take off the membrane. It is going to break down just fine on its own, and it's going to help us contain and retain some moisture and keep some of that fat on the back to help render some tenderness into these ribs. Once we got that all trimmed up and we've got the membrane all nice and scored, we are going to go ahead and hit it with Texas Oil Dust Piggy Bank on both sides. Notice I'm not using a binder. You know me, you know that I do use binders. I'm not against binders. I'm not only for binders. I'm for whatever works best for that moment and that day or whatever you feel like doing at that time. And so today, I'm not using any binders. These are nice and moist out of the package. And so we're just going to throw down some Piggy Bank on both sides. I'm going to be topping it off with Texas Oil Dust Black Gold on top because I love the flavor profile of it. It has some bold flavors. Really goes well with beef, but I love it on top of pork and even a light coat on chicken. Now, we're going to be cooking on our offset smoker. This is our highly modified Old Country Pecos. I walked in the room and said, wow, this is a really modified Old Country Pecos. It's not my Pecos, but if I had an Old Country Pecos, this is the one I'd have, okay? I insulated the firebox. I took out the baffle plate. I extended the exhaust. I am trying out some new modifications with a different kind of air deflection system inside. We'll get into that at a later video. We're going to go ahead and get the fire started. I am going to load some charcoal up into the basket. Now, we're just using lump charcoal into the basket, and I'm using one of these fire starters that I made and light it up. I'll start throwing splits of wood, and these are Smoky Woods products. And let me tell you guys, these people are awesome. There'll be a link down below so that you can order some from them. And this is going to be post oak. I think it's a great flavor profile. We're going to get that fire started up and nice and warm. Now, we're going to be cooking these somewhere between 275 and 300 degrees. That's where my smoker likes to run, and it's just easier to run it there. Once the smoker gets up to temperature, right around 250, 275, again, I'm going to be running it between 275 and 300. It doesn't bother me to throw the ribs on before it gets up to temp. In fact, I think a little bit of that dirtier smoke helps out in the beginning, as long as we're not cooking the entire time with that dirty smoke, it really yields a good flavor. Notice I throw them on there kind of perpendicular to the grill, the length of the grill, and I'm going to be moving it around because I'm trying out a little bit of air movement with this grill, but also showing you that you can cook these ribs both vertically and horizontally in alignment with the grill itself. Now, I believe this is going to be taking right around 45 minutes a pound, just like anything else. Now, this is about a 3-pound rack of ribs, so I know I'm going to be somewhere right around 4.5, maybe even 5 hours cooking these ribs. This isn't a 3-2-1 method. This is just throwing the ribs on there, maybe flipping them once or twice just to see how it's going, but that's it. There's no wrapping. There's nothing else. We're just throwing them on there, and we're letting them cook. We're going to be maintaining the fire by adding splits every 30 to 45 minutes. Now, these Smoky Woods Products splits are the exact size for this Old Country Pecos. They're only about 8 or 9 inches long and maybe 2 to 3 inches in diameter, and they burn awesomely. We're going to maintain that fire, and after about an hour and a half, I do go ahead and flip this rib around at a 180-degree angle, and I do that every hour and a half, all the way up until these ribs are really tender. Now, the way I'm going to be checking these ribs is with my thermopen, and I'm just checking for tenderness in between the bones. I really don't care about the temp, because by this time, at the temperature that I'm cooking at, I know that they're going to be not only food safe, but also probably 180 to 195 degrees. We're not talking about fall off the bone tender here. We're not talking about braising it in a wrap. We're talking about restaurant style, pull off the bone tender, get it in your teeth, get that delicious meaty chew, just like we all love from our favorite barbecue restaurant. Once we get that done and it's right where we want it, it's nice and tender, it's not going to fall off the bone, it's not complete mush, and you don't have to rip it off the bone. It's bite off the bone, right? Like, you take a bite and you're going to bite it off the bone. You're going to have a nice clean bite off of it. Once we get it there, I'm going to pull out some foil and I'm going to mix maybe a couple of tablespoons of Big Wicks jalapeno glaze along with some of my favorite barbecue sauce. And I'm talking very, very, very small amounts. This isn't a wet rib. This isn't a glazed rib. Very small amount. We're going to put that down on the foil, and then I'm going to hit it with another layer of that black gold because the pepper is just awesome. We're going to wrap it up extremely, extremely tight. We don't want this to steam. We just want this to rest. And when we rest this, I'm going to put it either in a cooler or in the oven with the oven not on, because at barbecue restaurants, they're going to cook these ribs first thing in the morning. They're going to pull them off right around 10 a.m. and then they're going to put them in the warmer for about an hour, usually when they start serving at 11 a.m. After we get them opened up, the color is amazing. They're juicy, they're tender. In fact, I took these to work and I fed everybody, and they absolutely loved them. Now, are they fall off the bone? Are they that mushy, boiled baby back ribs from Chili's? Not at all, but they're almost identical to the rib that you're going to get at your favorite barbecue restaurant. And man, let me tell you, I ain't mad about it. Guys, if you found any value in this, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I know most of you who watch my videos aren't actually subscribers. It would really help me out if you just hit that subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Comment down below where your favorite place is to eat ribs. And as always, guys, I love you. Drink more water.
Do you believe?